Oh my god, guys. Hi. Welcome to another video. Please ignore my bonnet and me being all comfy. It is really cold and I'm really tired, and I just thought I would make another video. I am Ayana McCoy, indie author slash singer-songwriter, and today's video is another part in the series where I read my old fan fiction from high school. So I'm really excited about this. We're going to read the next two chapters. So let's get on to opening the Wattpad. Okay, we are reading The Things I Couldn't Say. If you don't know anything about this fan fiction and this is your introduction to my videos, this is a fan fiction I wrote back in 2017 when I was a teenager in high school, and I've been reading it, and this is part 3. I'm gonna read the chapter 5 and 6, I'm pretty sure. I've already read that, like, the first 4 chapters, so I'm literally at here. But the story follows this character I made up, Hiren, as she is in this somewhat kind of love triangle with Jimin and Jungkook from BTS. So it's a little cringe, but we're gonna get started and we're gonna read this story. So we're gonna go on to the chapter, if you'll let me click it. And yeah, this stuff is still up on Wattpad if you want to go find it. It's really bad. It's really bad, guys. But it's there and it exists. So, go crazy if you want. But anyway, let's start reading. The chapter is titled Cousin because we get introduced to Haren's cousin, Hannah. Okay, let's start reading. Here we go. This is Hannah's POV, which I'm pretty sure is the cousin. So let's go. All right. I was in a train station waiting for my older cousin, Haren. How could she be so late? As I was waiting, I saw 2 attractive guys standing next to me. They looked so familiar, but I couldn't figure out who they were. I waited a little longer, and finally I saw Haren running up to me with another guy. Sorry I'm late, Haren said, helping me with my bags. It's whatever. Let's just go home, I said. My arms are killing me. She nodded, and I glanced once again at the guy with her. He was also strangely familiar. Haren, who's this? I asked, pointing to the guy. Oh, this is Jimin, my boyfriend, she said with a big smile. That name was really familiar. Suddenly, I got a text from one of my friends from high school. She was fangirling about BTS being in Busan. I wasn't really a fan of them. I mean, I did love their music, but I wasn't a fangirl. That's when I realized that Jimin wasn't just an ordinary guy with that name, but he was actually Jimin from BTS. That meant those 2 guys from before were Jin and Namjoon. Girl, not her acting like she don't know these people. Like, please be so for real right now. Be so for real. That's so funny. That trope where they be like, oh, I don't know who these famous guys are, but I do listen to their music. Like, I don't know them. So cringe, bro. Just cringe. Okay, where was I? Did you know they were here? I pointed at them. Jimin saw them and quickly went up to them. Haren and I followed. Jinhyun. No. What brings you guys here? Jimin asked. Oh, we came here immediately after we heard you got a girlfriend, Jin said, patting Jimin's back. How did you even find that out? We have our ways, Namjoon said. If my best friend was here, she would most likely die. I smiled just thinking about that. Nice to meet you, but I have to take my cousin home, Haren said, touching my shoulder. We all should have dinner together later. All of them smiled and nodded. Haren and I waved as we left the train station. Jimin came with us. It was awkward in the car. Haren and Jimin were acting like couples do, and it was making me sick. Girl, that's so funny. That's really funny. Anyway, would you 2 stop being so gross? I said, crossing my arms in the back seat. I could see Haren blush a little through the rearview mirror. So, what made you want to go to Busan University? Haren asked me, changing the subject. I wasn't really sure why, but the main reason was to get far away from my annoyingly overprotective parents. Busan is also a convenient place to go since my cousin lives here. My cousins live here. No reason really, I just miss being here in Busan, I said, which was only slightly true. I lived in Busan back when I was a really young kindergartner. Hayren was in second grade. She had 2 friends in her class and I had none. No friends at all at the time. I didn't like Suma very much and I was sure Hayren didn't like her either. Anyway, my father got a job opportunity in Seoul. It was paying him more than what he got in Busan, so we moved. Now I was back. After a long, somewhat quiet drive, we finally make it to Hayren and Suma's house. Jimin was dropped off a while back. I was surprised that Hayren would live in Suma, but that was none of my business. Hayren helped me with my bags and led me to my new room. There was a bed, a desk, a dresser, and a small closet. It was a simple but cute room. It was a good thing we had an extra room all this time, Hayren said, putting my bags down. We'll get comfortable if you need anything. Just ask. I nodded and waited until she left. When she was gone, I began to unpack my things. It didn't take long to get all my stuff in the right place. It was time to go to my afternoon classes by the time I was finished. I got dressed into something a little formal and made my way out. The bus ride to the university was pretty quick. The place was already packed with newcoming students. Since this was a school of arts, there were students that had their instruments with them. My first class was the class that I really didn't want to take at all. It was mandatory that I take a songwriting class because of my major in classical music. There were 2 seats to each table in the classroom and everyone was all partnered up, and gladly I found a free table. After a few minutes, the professor came into the room with a big smile on her face. One thing I will say about the writing, again, like I said in the other part before this, is that, I could describe a little more, maybe transition a little better, some things like that. Like, as an author now, I can see where I would edit this and make this a better fleshed out story, because it just kind of felt like I just info dump without info dumping. It's more like transition dumping or whatever the hell describes it. But yeah, well, anyway, let's get back to reading. Hello, welcome to Songwriting 101, she said with enthusiasm. Before she could continue, a guy came running into the classroom. Now, this guy was really familiar. Sorry I'm late, he said. The professor patted his shoulder. It's fine. Take a seat. He nodded and walked to the open seat next to me. The girls in the room were smiling and whispering. When I saw him up close, I realized I was sitting next to Jungkook. That was the guy my best friend loved so much out of all the BTS members. Did I miss anything? Jungkook whispered. He leaned a little close to me, causing my heart to jump. It wasn't like I liked him or anything. It was just an attractive guy getting so close is new to me. Actually, class was just starting, I said, turning to the front of the room. Jungkook nodded. For the rest of the class, the professor was giving us an assignment. Our assignment was to write a song with the person sitting next to us. Finally, class was over. Just before I could leave, Jungkook stopped me. You're Hannah, right? He asked. I was confused. How do you know my name? I said, putting my notebook in my bag. Hayren told me about you a while back. You two look a little alike. I nodded. He was right. We do look similar. When we were younger, people would always think we were sisters. I always looked up to Hayren. She was smart, pretty, hardworking, and always popular with guys. She always shot them down because she was already in love with someone. I, on the other hand, didn't have any special abilities other than violin. I was an average student and boys were afraid of me. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just a bit too honest. Some called me cold-hearted. Oh, it's a lot. Okay. Oh, we're switching POV soon. Let's keep reading. Well, this mini transition to a random scene that I feel like it's not going to be that important. Anyway. Later that day, Hayren and I were making dinner. We were cooking a lot, which confused me. Hayren, why are we cooking so much? I asked as I was cutting the vegetables. Oh, we're having guests over for dinner, she said with a big smile. This was the first time I've seen Hayren so happy. Maybe it was because she was finally with the person she loves. Actually, I have a question, Hayren bit her lip. I made eye contact with her and she stopped cooking. Never mind. I sighed. Why didn't she just ask? Now I'm curious. I nodded and continued what I was doing. It only took me a few more minutes to complete dinner. Hayren's POV is also really short. Everyone was sitting at the table and eating dinner. Jimin was sitting next to me. Jungkook was across from me sitting next to Hana. And Jin and Namjoon were on each end of the table. I was a bit awkward. It was a bit awkward between Jimin and Jungkook, and I'm sure everyone noticed. There wasn't much talking the entire time. Jim would occasionally tell a funny joke, or Namjoon would talk about the books he'd read. After dinner, when everyone was leaving, I saw Jimin talking to Namjoon. They looked pretty serious. Jimin came up to me when we were done talking. "What's wrong?" I asked. Jimin didn't look too happy. He sighed. "I have news," he said. "I'll be going back to Seoul tomorrow." Oh, oh, he's going back to Seoul. But, oh my God. So that was the chapter with the cousin. A lot of introductions, a lot of things, a little turning point in the story. But we meet Hana, which is Haren's cousin, and I'm pretty sure she's the romantic interest for Jungkook or something like that. But Jungkook going back to Seoul. I don't know if Jim is going back to Seoul. I don't know if Jungkook is going along or is it just a Jimin thing? I don't know. But they're gonna have to do mini long distance, which is funny. But we're gonna read the next chapter. Okay, it's back in Haren's POV, of course, and it's short. So let's get at it. Let's go. It was a sad day for Jimin and I. He was going back to Seoul today. He had to do a solo project and it required him to go back. Jin and Namjoon said their goodbyes to me, but Jimin couldn't say anything. This would be typo? Oh my God, there's literally a typo, bro. For yachts, be the first time we were separated as a couple. Hopefully it wouldn't be for too long. The train's leaving soon, I said. Jimin suddenly hugged me. I couldn't speak anymore. Maybe it was because I knew how much I would miss him. I'll make sure to call you every day, Jimin said, stroking my hair. Don't worry, we'll only be 3 hours away from each other, I said with a smile. Is that true? Is Seoul 3 hours away from Busan? I don't know if I researched that or not. I actually don't really remember writing much of this at all. But yeah, I don't know. But, well, whatever. The train station announced that the train to Seoul was leaving shortly. Jimin and I pulled away from the hug and Jimin kissed me lightly on the cheek. He then got on the train. As the train doors closed, I waved with a smile. When the bus left, I made my way to my car. Now I had to figure out how to get Jungkook to forget me. I spent the rest of the drive home thinking, oh my God, Haren's still on that. So at the end of chapter 4, I'm pretty sure it was chapter 4, where Jungkook literally was also in love with Haren, and like Haren wants him to get over her because she's not checking for it. She's just not doing it. So I guess that's her plan and what she's up to. She's trying to brew up something sneaky, I guess. But we're back in Hana's POV, so let's keep reading. Jungkook and I were at the park trying to think of ideas for our song project. Jungkook was just sitting quietly while I was staring at the notebook. Are you gonna help me or what? I said. Oh, sorry, I was thinking about something, he said, running his fingers through his hair. What were you thinking about? We could probably use it for the song. I'd rather not. We can figure something else out. I didn't question him any further. We spent half of the morning preparing to write the song. Jungkook and I were getting along well. We had a lot in common and we both loved music. I've never met anyone who could relate to me like he could. So why is it so awkward whenever you and Haren are together? I asked. Do you like her or something? Okay, Anna. Girl. Way to just be blunt, I guess. That's crazy. Anyway, Jungkook's smile disappeared from his face. It was like he was never smiling. Did I guess correctly? I cleared my throat awkwardly. Actually, I do. It's just she doesn't like me, Jungkook said. Is it okay if I ask what happened? Jungkook nodded and told me about everything that happened before I came here. Sounds like Haren must have been something special. I felt bad for Jungkook. Too bad there was no way I could help. Jungkook suddenly got a phone call. When he was done talking, he stood up. I have to get home, he said. I'll see you tomorrow in class. I nodded and watched him as he walked away. So I was alone waiting for Haren to pick me up from the park. Haren had just picked me up and I wanted to so badly ask her about the situation with Jungkook. Hana, there's something I want you to help me with, Haren said. I looked at her confused. What is it? I asked. You probably already know about Jungkook's feelings for me, she said. I want him to get over me. I was wondering if you could help. What was she asking me to do? Did she want me to seduce him or something? What do you mean? I know it's a lot to ask, but could you get Jungkook to like you? It was exactly what I was thinking. Are you trying to set us up? I asked as the car pulled into the driveway. Kind of. This made me upset. I wasn't going to be set up with anybody. If I wanted to date Jungkook, I'd do it myself. Haron, I can't do that, I said, getting out of the car. She also got out of the car. I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I don't want Jungkook to be hurt because of me. I stopped walking towards the front door and turned to look at Haron. You don't understand. No matter what you do, Jungkook won't forget you so easily, I said. He doesn't just like you, he's in love with you. Oh. I said nothing else and walked into the house. I went straight to my room and closed the door behind me. Phew. God, it's moving fast. We're moving fast. Let's go. Let's just keep reading. We're like halfway through. Oh, Lord. The next morning, I heard Haron gasp. It sounded bad, so I ran out of my room to where she was. She was looking at her phone. What happened? I asked, still a bit sluggish. Look at this. Haron handed me her phone. It was a news article about Jimin dating. The fans must have found out about Haron being with Jimin. In the comments of the article, I read a bunch of angry comments about it. Some fans didn't want to believe it was true, and some were upset saying that Haron took Jimin from them. I never knew a fandom could get so crazy about someone dating. There was another article about Jimin being with another girl other than Haron. There was a few slightly blurry pictures of Jimin with her in a coffee shop. To be honest, the girl was prettier than Haron.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
What? Girl, what kind of cousin are you? Why would you say that in your head? I'm like, yeah, Haron's not even that cute. That girl was prettier. That's messed up, actually. That's so messed up. Anyway, whew, she looked like an idol or something. I bet Haron was really jealous right about now. Girl, Hannah, that's so out of pocket. That's so out of pocket, girly. Oh my God. We're back in Haron's POV again. I couldn't believe what I saw. You don't think it was a date, right? I said, taking my phone back and looking at the girl again. It's hard to think they were just being friends, Hannah said, crossing her arms. Just look how she's touching him. I looked at the pictures once more and saw that the girl was hanging on his arm like they were dating or something. She also looked like a flirt. I don't think Jimin would just date someone else like that, I said, putting my phone down. He must have realized there were much better girls than you, Suma said, coming into the room with a cup of coffee. Maybe he'll break up with you. Girl, Haron, you need new family members. Like, just throw them in the trash. Hannah wasn't that bad because she, didn't say that out loud. But Suma, her sister is like a menace. Why is her sister a menace, bro? I don't get it. Hannah shrugged and walked back to her room, and Suma went back into the kitchen with a chuckle. I didn't believe that Jimin would do something like that, or even change his feelings so quickly. But something in me had a small doubt. If he wasn't on a date with that girl, then why were they together? Was it for work? Hopefully it was for work and only work. I felt the urge to call him and ask, but it'll sound like I don't trust him. So I just sat there staring at my phone for a while. Maybe he'd call me and explain it that it was nothing and still have feelings for me. My phone suddenly rang and quickly picked it up without looking. Hello? I said excitedly and nervously. Hey, Haron, it's Jungkook, he said. We need to talk about something. Okay, girl, you didn't look at the caller ID before you answer. He's all excited thinking it was Jimin and shit. Like, that's embarrassing, bro. Okay, anyway. I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't Jimin who called. Okay, let's meet at the park, I said. We both agreed and I hung up. I got dressed and ready for the day. I decided to walk to the park this time, even though it was a little far. I just needed some time to think. When I got there, Jungkook was waiting by the big tree. He smiled when he saw me. What did you need to talk about? I asked, standing in front of him. Jungkook sighed. I've decided to get over you, he said, with the same smile on his face. I'm going to get rid of my feelings for you. Actually, I had an idea for that, I said. Maybe you and Hannah could go on a date? Why was Jungkook so easily just like, okay, I think I'm gonna try to get over you now? Why is everything just going so fast, bro? Slow down. There's no hurry. You could have made more chapters. Jungkook gave me a confused look. I never thought of dating Hannah. That's why you should consider it. Just think about it. That's all I said before walking away. I was glad Jungkook was trying to forget about me. I already had this Jimin situation to deal with. As I was walking home, my phone rang loudly in my pocket. I pulled out the phone, and this time I looked at the caller ID. It was finally Jimin. I quickly answered the phone. Jimin, I was waiting for your call, it said, smiling. So, you're the wonderful Hayren, I heard a girl say. It wasn't Jimin's voice, but a girl's voice. Like you just said, a girl said. Anyway, who is this? I asked. Was it that girl who was with Jimin? Why did she have his phone? Oh, let me introduce myself, she said. I'm Sarani. I'm working with Jimin.
Bruh.
Girl. Oh my god, another girl character introduced? Oh my god, like, I don't even know these actresses anymore. But that is all for that. Well, okay, guys, so that was the next two chapters of the things I couldn't say, my Jimin and Jungkook fanfiction. Yo, what was that? And like, what is happening? Why was she on Jimin's phone, bro? Like, that's so weird. That's really weird. She's a new character. I'm pretty sure that she's gonna get with Taehyung. I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea, but there's quite a few left. But the story is moving so fast. Like, why is it moving so quickly? Like, slow down, girl. Like, I was just rushing to get this stuff out. But I would say not bad. I'm very entertained. It's just like, what is it called? Prose wise, this is not good writing. It's not good writing. But yeah, I had a fun time. It's interesting to see what's gonna happen to Hayren and Hana when it comes to Jungkook and her thing, and Jimin with this Sarani girl and all that. It's gonna be a fun time, and I'm excited to read it next time I do this video. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, please press the like button and comment below what you think about the whole story and my writing and all that stuff. Like, I would love to know, even though this is my writing from a long time ago, and I have hopefully, I think, improved by now, at least somewhat improved, you know. But yeah, this is a fun time. I'm actually enjoying making these videos. Forgive me for wearing my bonnet. I just have been lazy all day reading, writing, and making this video. But that is all for this video. There will be another part where I read the next chapter, the next two chapters, and I will be really excited about that. But if you want to see more reading videos, vlogs, writing videos, and so on, you can subscribe to my channel. I am grateful for the 600 subscribers that I got now. I'm thinking about doing a special thing, but I'm not sure yet, so I will keep you guys posted. But yeah, but thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys next week with another one.